Me just fluffing some notes over the chords to Honeysuckle Rose. So I thought I'd do a new sort of style video each month, take a jazz standard, talk through a bit of background information about it, how I'd approach playing the chords, and sort of what scales, arpeggios you could use over those changes. And also what versions I particularly like to sort of signpost you to, and maybe to learn some stuff from you guys. What are the great versions you're aware of, or sort of ideas for playing over it. So the writer of this song is the great Fats Waller, who also wrote Ain't Misbehaving. Now I think this song is from 1929. It's a classic, it's in the classic AABA jazz form, 32 bars, and is often played in the key of F major. Charlie Parker would later borrow the chords for this standard and write his tune Scrapple from the Apple over the top of the changes. So part one, onto the chord changes. So first thing to say is that there's a myriad of ways you can approach playing the chords to a song. The way I play them might differ to how you've learnt them or how someone else plays them. Chord changes to jazz standards are like Chinese whispers, you know, an extension becomes the norm and then things can move quite far away from the original composition. But these are what I like to use. There's more than one way to do it. So first off, let's establish we're in the key of F and what chords we'd expect to find in that key, because this is going to help us later on with soloing. So if we're in the key of F, I expect to find, you know, F or F major 7 or F6, G minor or G minor 7, A minor, A minor 7, B flat major 7, B flat 6 maybe, C or C7 or an altered version of that, or C9 even, D minor 7, maybe D minor 9. E half diminished minor 7 flat 5, back to F. And that sort of sets our expectations of what chords we might expect to find, and also spot the ones which are out of the key, which is very important. So looking at the A section, I'll put it across the screen, and I'll put the chord shapes across the screen for you. So what we have to start with is a 2-5 progression, cycling between 2-5. And now I like to play, you know, G minor 7 to C7 in second inversion with the 5th in the bass. So G minor 7 to C7 slash C, so like this. So 2, 5, 2, 5, G minor 7 to C7. Then we get this ascending run, F over A, B flat 6, B diminished, F slash C, C7, F slash C, or back or to F6, 9. The important thing to say here is with swing era tunes like this one, major 7 chords for 1 chords or for 4 chords aren't very common. It's more likely that it'll be just a plain major chord, so just a triad, so F or B flat, or more likely F6 or F6, 9. So let's play that again. So we've got 2, 5, G minor 7 to C7 slash G. And then we've got this run. So we go F in first inversion with A in the bass, B flat 6, B diminished, F slash C, so F in second inversion with the 5th in the bass, C7, F6, 9. So like speed, that run goes. So you get this rising bass line. The C7 at the end taking you back to chord 1. The 2-5 bit in that A section is quite cool because we're not starting on the 1 chord, so you get this sort of, you know, tension until you hit the F. Here, a bit more tension here, which is released when we go back to the F. So as I said, the shapes are across the screen. The B section, is one of those classic B sections where you take the one chord and you make it a dominant 7th chord. So we go F7, and then we go to chord 4, which is a B flat 6. So, which is, you know, F7 is the dominant of B flat. So it's like the 5 of 4, you'd call that. B flat 6, G7, secondary dominant, to C7, which is the dominant of the key we're in. So that takes us back to the A section. So you got F7, going to B flat 6, G7, C7, back to A section. Yeah, you make the, you know, at the end of that section, you know, the end of the A section, we've just got, here we are, F6, 9, then F7, B flat 6, G7, C7. Put flat 9 in as well if you want a bit more tension. Sometimes on that B section people like to play the B flat chord as a B flat dominant 7th. It works fine, but I like it as B flat 6, a bit sweeter sounding. So let's hear the progression all the way through. So onto some sort of scales and arpeggios you could use. So for that A section, for that cycle between the 2 and the 5, it's one of those where those chords are moving quite quickly. The song's often played quite fast. You know, if you could look at each chord in turn, but 2 and 5 are so interlinked. You could look at it just from the 2 perspective or the 5 perspective. So let's go with the 5. So the C7. So the natural scale for that is the Mixolydian mode. So C Mixolydian being the 5th mode in F major, C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat C. Which has a nice sweet sound. Within that you will find the chord tones of the G minor 7 and the C7. So the C7 being C, E, G, B flat, and it's important to be able to find those from different starting points, so from C, from G, from E, from B flat, different orders, and then find the G minor 7 ones as well, G, B flat, D, F. Try and link them, so first in order, so G, I'm going to go G minor 7, then C7, or maybe I went G, B flat, D, F, then E, which is the 3rd of C, then down the C7 arpeggio, like that sort of stuff. Sort of just finding those chord tones within it. Some other sort of arpeggio substitutions you could do, over the C9 you could play an E minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio. So E, G, B flat, D, E. That gives you a rootless C9 sound. Oh. That's pretty cool. Thinking from the G minor 7 perspective, you could play B major 7. So here's B flat major 7 to E minor 7 flat 5. You hear there's some cool sounds there, and we're avoiding roots, which is always a nice thing to try to do. So they will sound pretty cool against the chords. So you've got so far, you know, C Mixolydian or G Dorian sort of blanket approach to over the 2 and the 5. Pick out the chord tones of both those chords. When you've exhausted that, maybe see what E minor 7 flat 5 sounds like over it, and also B flat major 7 for some more interesting sounds, avoiding roots and so forth. So the ascending section, yes, it's got a few like bits in it with the B diminished and so forth and C7, but you can really just treat this as F major, this section for E, so you could use the F major scale or F Ionian, so F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. But over that C7 you might want to pick out some of the notes in that chord or dip back into Mixolydian. Easier scales you might want to use, not that that's a difficult scale, but other options should I say. You could use F major pentatonic, or think of it from the relative and use D minor. Every guitarist's favourite scale, so D minor pentatonic. If you want to blues it up a little bit, you could use F minor pentatonic or the F blues, so you know. So you imagine if I come out with some sort of Mixolydian. This is over the 2/5. Then blues. And then maybe going back to major, so you can kind of, you know, you've got a melting pot of ideas there. You got, you know, F major scale, F major pentatonic or D minor pentatonic, and maybe a bit of F blues or F minor pentatonic for a bit of tension. You know, sounds pretty cool. So we hit that B section with the F7. Simple choice for this, F Mixolydian, so F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F. You could go for some more outside sounds, but let's just stick with that for now. We hit the B flat 6, where you could go, if you want, you can go B flat Lydian. You probably could use B flat Mixolydian there as well, or you know, if you're finding all these modes a bit complicated, just stick to chord tones. You know, so sort of F, A, C, E flat for the F7, then B flat, D, F, G for the B flat 6. And so forth. G7. For the G7 we could go G Mixolydian. And then the C7 we could go C7 Mixolydian. But because that chord's quite tense there, you know, you could, well it's not that tense, but you could stick on the altered for a little bit more tension before you go back to the sort of more harmonious sounding A section. Remembering that jazz and swing, you know, the soloing is all about tension and release, so you use those kind of outside sounds to fit in with the harmony of the song, the movement and the ebb and flow of it. So that's my take on sort of some ideas for how to play the chords and sort of approach soloing over. I know I've just given you options there, but when you're learning this stuff, you've just got to get down the idea of finding the chord tones and the scales, and that's really where all the hard work lies, obviously. So tune in next month for another standard, but as ever I'll bring you a video lesson every Wednesday. Well, that brings today's video lesson to a close. If you've gained value from it, then please consider hitting the like button, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I do videos like this, lessons, backing tracks, gear demos. I'm sure you'd like it if you've enjoyed today's content. See you again soon.